Welcome to the second movie explaining how P5 sketch and test works. If you watch the first movie, you probably think, wow, is it really so easy to run an experiment? And indeed it is, but the remaining movies will be about the but, because there will be some stuff that you have to learn perhaps, or because you of course want to make your own experiment. Yeah, at least you want to have your own stimuli or that kind of things. So let's do that movie per movie. So we will first, so we did this, we will first talk a little bit about p5.js and the editor. And we will do that on the basis of an example, the example which is in the repository. First, so we just simply copy-pasted the HTML code in the requester portal and it worked. And that works for two reasons. Because our images and the measurement list, which contains all the sampling points, they are online somewhere, so we can use a link. And in the P5 sketch, we made a function called onP5editor, which basically tracks whether you're working on a P5 editor or on mturk, because they work a little bit differently. For example, if you want to save data or where to position the experiment in the HTML document. And furthermore, we write here that you should use a P5 table because that's a very convenient way to store the data and later to export it. We also wrote a simple function to export your table to a CSV file. But let's go to the example. So this is the example. And here is the HTML file. Yes, no project meeting. Here's the HTML file, and we copy it again. We're back at the requester portal, and we get rid of this, and then we just copy our code, and then we check if it all works. Yes, it works. You see an image, there is some text, there is a counter here. And if you click, the counter goes up until 9, I think, because I set a limit for 10 clicks. This is not really an experiment. This thing just collects the positions of the mouse. And the nice thing about P5 is that you put a sketch in a canvas, and you use the coordinates of that canvas. So this click will be like 0, 0, and this click will be the width and the height of the image. You can click, you can check that now actually. Yeah, you see, so this click was 1.4, so the x coordinate is 1, the y coordinate is 4, and the second one was the image is 800 by 600 pixels. Anyway, let's go back to the code. Because this code is very short because there is a link here. So these are the JavaScript libraries that you need to use for mturk, the first one, and the second and third are for P5. The third one, actually, I don't know if it's still necessary. I just better safe than sorry. Maybe we should get rid of it. Anyway, the fourth link is the sketch. It's the thing we programmed. It's the experiment basically. So here's the sketch, and here then is the HTML stuff. So here are the instructions. If you write something here, blah blah blah, you will see that here, it's here. Yeah, so that stuff here and there, the button, these are, they come from here. So this is the instructions. I guess you have to write your instructions here because everything will be bold otherwise. And then here is the button. And the nice thing here is that there is this required tag that basically it should get the data from the P5 sketch before you can press submit. So not to get into trouble. And then this thing is the P5 sketch. That's sort of a link to that P5 experiment that we made. And where is the oh yeah, here's the P5 experiment. Ah, it's a link. And it's a link to a file that we put on a web server. You can just copy it and paste, and then here is the link, the JavaScript file. It's the same thing, actually, let's get rid of it, as what is in the repository. So here. It's the same because we uploaded it both to the GitHub and to the server. There's probably an automatic way to do that, but we don't know. So we try to keep track of everything and upload everything both to GitHub and our server. So this is the P5 sketch. And of course, the experiment may be not ideal, so now let's try to tweak it a bit. So this is the experimental code. And let's go to the P5 editor and we copy it there, the P5 sketch. Let's see if it runs. Yes, it runs. Good. So what is wrong with this experiment? Well, a lot of things. First of all, the image is too big, right? So we have to resize the image. Just for your information, here, function finished, function table2CSV, and function on P5 editor are functions that we like to use. They're recommended. And there's a function mouse press that basically collects the clicks. They are basically non-standard stuff. Function draw is like the standard thing that's always almost always in a P5 sketch, and there's this setup function, and then on top mostly there's a preload function if you want to load images, and here are some variables, constants. Okay, so we want to make this image smaller. So here the image is loaded, and with P5 resize, you can use this command. Let's see if it works. Yes, it works. So now it is smaller. Also, the canvas is smaller. If you leave a 0 here, where's my mouse? Here, there. The 0, it means the aspect ratio is maintained. So it will just use the width. Actually, I want to have the height. So let's see. Yeah, let's do 400. Yeah. So this is an okay height, I think. Then this counter is 0. That's a very small font. So let's put also the font size. You would think, let's use a font size command. But you're not sure, of course. What command should I use? Then you press help and go to the reference. You should do this anyway. So here are all the basic commands of P5. Let's go to typography. And then, it's not font size, it's text size. If you press on it, nice, text size, we will make it a bit larger. You can also see my code is called modern horse because it gives you a random name. And then if you save it, it's saved under modern horse and you will never remember what it was. So you can also change the name here if you want. Font size, no, text size, text size. Let's do it a bit bigger. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Maybe we just put it here. Yes, here it works. Then the position is not optimal. So this is the X position and this is the Y position. So maybe put it a bit. Yeah, so this is better. So now we changed two things. Maybe we want to, no, we don't want to draw an ellipse when we click. So you can click on it and a counter goes. So this seems to work quite well. So we made some changes to the code. Now we copy the code again, and of course, in the ideal case, we upload it to the server, and then the link is refreshed, and then everything works. But another way, which is perfectly fine also, no, this is not where I want to go, is actually to put your P5 code just in the middle of this, of the requester portal HTML console. So let's get rid of this link, and then here is a place where we can put our p5 sketch. So we copy it. Now it's here. Let's see if it worked. Did the image get smaller? Yes! So the image was smaller, and the size got bigger, and everything works perfectly fine. So this is a way to set up experiments, basically to design your experiment. So we really suggest you use the p5 editor and just play with it, make your own experiment, and then get it ready, and then you can simply copy paste it in the requester portal. There's one last thing in this movie I want to add. We have this function. It's a bit of a mess, sorry for that, but there's so little time for everything. We have this function called onP5editor. So it basically checks well, the website you're working from, and if it includes editor p5.js.org, it knows we are on the editor. In my case, I use a lot of these things in education, and the students are not requesters on mturk, they just test on each other. So you can do the same thing, the same experiment on p5, except you cannot really download, you cannot upload or download the data somewhere. So what we did here, if you're finished, basically you're finished when the mouse clicks are 10 in our case. If you are on the p5 editor, we use this command, save table data.csv. So let's do that for now. And did you see it? It automatically downloads your data. So students or also colleagues can just run the experiment in their own browser. Then the file is downloaded on there. You see all my stuff. Well, it doesn't matter. Download it on your in your downloads folder, and this is basically the basic data you have. So this is a very nice thing. You can just use all the things we put on the repository also in the p5 editor without doing anything on mturk. Observers then download the data, and then they can send it to you. Of course, this is more of an informal way of doing experiments, but it can be very helpful in educational settings or quick prototyping among colleagues. Let's see if I finished everything that I wanted to tell. Yeah, so that's the example. In the let's look a little bit what we will do next. Next movie will be about where to put your images and in your data, and how that mturk data looks. Alright, see you later in the next movie.